Here's what you get with this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
The bank is the part that most people really shy away from. It's the thing I'm best at, and it's the thing I love to talk about the most. So I do find it's easier to find guests on my podcast for the other letters. And it is easier to make people fall in love with me when they start to hear those other pieces in a conversation that's not scary, because I'm not going to use language or going to use tools and terminology that's going to intimidate people when talking about money. I build analogies like crazy to help teach money concepts and really approach it in a gentle way.
You see, Danny, there's a force in the universe that makes things happen, and all you have to do is get in touch with it. Stop thinking, let things happen, and be the ball. Or be the nice guys on business. Either one is good. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, let's do this. Nice Guy community. Today we are honored to have an amazing guest, because I say amazing because there's not many people that would want to invite me not only on their show, but then actually air the podcast episode after I do the recording. So today's guest, her name is Melissa Leone, and she is truly the efficiency bitch. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that to people directly, but since that's the name of her podcast, Efficiency Bitch, geez, how many times can I say bitch and feel good about it? You know, it's like, how many times can I say the word fuck and really enjoy living and life that much more? But you know what? Life's a 4-letter word. So let's kind of just go with it here. She is the efficiency bitch. She's going to explain exactly what that means. It is not a bad word. It's not actually a 4-letter word. It's a good thing. Melissa Leone, welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Hey, nice to see you again. Thanks for having me.
I am happy to have you here. I got to start with the origin of, now I know what it is because I believe I was the T. I was the T in bitch. If I remember correctly. Okay. So why don't you tell everybody what that means, and then we'll come back and share a little of your story and some of the wins and victories that you've had in your career.
Yeah, efficiency bitch is more than an attitude, I suppose. It's an acronym. It's also a podcast and a book and a lot of other things. But the acronym stands for Bank, Inbox, Time, Connection, and Harmony. And so the purpose of Efficiency Bitch is to help ambitious people have it all without doing it all. I specifically talk to women in a lot of my podcasts and in my book, but anybody can be an efficiency bitch, man, woman, or child. In fact, I'm raising 3 of them.
and I felt I was truly a bitch. I came on your show and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm shortchanging myself only by being the T, because there was so many of those things. My girlfriend and I, JJ and I, have conversations all the time about money, and not because we're arguing about money, but because we were raised completely differently. Mm-hmm. You know, she was raised in an environment where money was almost it was a secretive subject, and mm-hmm. I was raised in an environment where money was always talked about. It's so much so to the point where that has transferred over to my relationship with my kids. And I always tell everybody, hey, you know who to call when I die, right? You call, and they go like, I know, we call Michael Steinhardt. Okay, where do you keep the policy numbers? Okay, great. And you know how much money is coming, and you know what? And so we get into the weeds with that stuff. But there are people that don't have that same relationship. I'm not saying it's good, bad, indifferent. It's just a different relationship. So can I start with maybe your relationship with money, and then we can kind of talk about some of the other stuff too, because I love talking about money.
Me too. It's what I do for a living. So I'm also the owner of a fractional CFO company called 2 Cents Consulting, like SENSE, making sense. And we help small business owners with their financial statements. And like, we do bookkeeping, but that's not the goal. The goal is to teach people how to use their money as leverage. It's how to teach people how to live the life that they want, to have freedom. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart for both businesses and the humans behind the business. If you're not thinking about money, it will create a roadblock for you somewhere down the line. Now, I don't believe money should be on your heart. I mean, we all know that like money isn't the key to happiness, but it can buy you your time back, and it can help you find space for happiness down the line. So if you're not talking about money, start listening about money. Find some podcasts, mine included, that will talk to you about money and help you learn some of the things that maybe you need to know, because there's a lot to it.
When did you discover that this was like your thing? Because there are people that kind of go through their entire life and they never really have that relationship with either money, a budget. You know, everybody always thinks budget's a 4-letter word. It involves all sorts of control. And I think, no, it allows me to control what's going on in my financial world. And I love having a budget because I have a measuring stick now that I can use every month to determine, hey, I did this and I didn't do that, and that's okay. And I have some leftover stuff for next month, or I ran into the deficit column this month. But when did you discover this was like your thing?
Yeah, by accident a couple of times. My first job in life at age 16 was as a bank teller. I have no idea why they hired me. I mean, I was cute at 16, so maybe that was why. But I don't know. I don't know why they hired me. I had no experience in the world, but I was hired as a bank teller. And I did that for 7 years, all through high school, all through college. I went to undergrad for hotel restaurant management. I thought I wanted to own or run a bar or a restaurant. Right out of college, I went to go work for a hotel in a restaurant, and I hated it. I hated every moment of it, so much so that I was ready to quit. And the financial controller came to me and said, before you quit, can you try accounting? And I said, no, man, I'm not trying accounting. That's not my thing. And he saw something in me while I was like doing payroll for the restaurant. He said, you seem to be good at that part. Let's try it. I'm not kidding. First day, I fell in love with it and I never left. So I spent 17 years in the luxury hospitality market in finance and accounting. And then in 2020, did my own thing and started this fractional CFO company. So I've been in money almost 30 years.
I appreciate you sharing your journey. I want to go back for just a quick second because, when we talk about the acronym BITCH, Bank, Inbox, Time, Connection, and Harmony.
Ooh,
one of the challenges that I have with not with the acronym, but with your book, your show, yourself, is that you spend a fair amount of time on the ITCH, but you spend all of your career in the B. So tell me, so how is it that these other pieces came into the equation for you as well?
Yeah, I find that most people are really scared to talk about money. They are disengaged from the conversation of money. And most people, you can get a better conversation on areas to improve your life around time, around inbox, because those are like taskmaster or time master type of things. People are not as intimidated by that conversation. Connection is all about how we talk to each other. So, where you spend your time, where you show up for your village, how you find your village, some of those pieces. And then harmony is the bow that ties it all together. It's what I'm striving for. I'm never looking for work-life balance. I don't think that exists. I'm looking for harmony in my life, for all pieces to be in agreement. Maybe sometimes I need to spend more time over here or over there. The bank is the part that most people really shy away from. It's the thing I'm best at, and it's the thing I love to talk about the most. So I do find it's easier to find guests on my podcast for the other letters. And it is easier to make people fall in love with me when they start to hear those other pieces in a conversation that's not scary, because I'm not going to use language or going to use tools and terminology that's going to intimidate people when talking about money. I build analogies like crazy to help teach money concepts and really approach it in a gentle way.
Yeah. And I found that when I had a conversation with you, and I'm not intimidated or scared or run away from a conversation about money, but I felt very comfortable talking about it in a safe environment on your show, even though your show goes out to a bunch of people that are out there listening kind of on the inside to this. Talk to me about, I listened to, let me take a pause for a second. Nice Guy Community. The show is called Efficiency Bitch. 3 episodes that I would absolutely tell you that you want to listen to, especially if time and money are things that you may struggle with. And I know Strickland, if you're listening to this, Strickland's my partner, by the way, Melissa. He has a very informal relationship with time, and I have a very formal relationship with the calendar. There are 2 episodes. One is Sandy Webster. The other one is Jared Goss. And I encourage you, Strickland, I encourage you and my community out there to listen to those 2, Sandy Webster and Jared Goss. There's also an episode with Erica Good, I think you pronounce her last name. And it's an episode that is specifically about money. And I walked away with that with a lot different perspective, because I can be a fly on the wall in your conversation. I don't have to insert how I feel about it. I can just listen to how you are dealing with it with Erica. So 3 really good conversations. Nice Guy Community. Take a listen to those. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to take that sidetrack, but I wanted to make sure we really hit home with your episodes in your podcast. Okay, let's talk about. You have a very good philosophy when it comes to the things in your life: delegate, eliminate, automate. I love that. Again, I listened to an episode and I'm like, God damn it, that is finally, that hits home. And I never really, maybe that's a universal thing that I just never really attached onto. But until I heard you say it, I'm like, oh, I get it now. Talk to my community for a moment about the importance of delegate, eliminate, and automate, and maybe even provide an example of something that you think would be good for them to understand how that actually works in your life to make better your life.
There are so many different ways that this can apply. And I'll give you my own personal example of how these things came to be. I'm a mother. I have 3 children. In my corporate job, while I was working for Four Seasons Hotels for 17 years, I was also traveling the globe. So I was doing 200,000 airline miles a year. I had little kids. I was pregnant through one of those. I was doing all of the things. And my husband also worked full time. He was a general manager of a golf course. And so we had a lot of big responsibility. And I was doing all of the things that a wife or a mother is supposed to do from the societal perspective. I was the PTO president and the Girl Scout troop leader. And I started to take on this very angry martyr persona of I have to do it all. And what started to break down, and I say it often that Supermom tried to kill me. I was trying to do too much, and it started to really sink in that I don't have to do it all. Right. I can delegate it. I can ask for help. So first thing I delegated was having somebody help me clean my home. And it started once a month and then it moved to twice a month. Now I have help once a week, but I couldn't afford it at the beginning to have support once a week. So I used it once a month. I used that time to go make money for the next. And you use that snowball effect in order to make smart decisions on how to delegate tasks. The automate is something that, as a millennial, I am very drawn to technology. I grew up I graduated high school in 1999, so I didn't grow up with a cell phone, but I was in my adult early years as technology was starting to really come into play, and I have leveraged that throughout. So you'll find things like the Amazon Echo in my home with routines that tell my children that it's time for school or time for bed so that I don't have to be the damn timekeeper all the time, right? Using automation and things to support you. And then finally eliminating. I started getting real with myself on the shit I was doing that wasn't mine to do, like PTO president. Doug, I don't like kids. I mean, I like my kids.
I get it. I don't
I like
kids
my
either.
kids, but I would not be a good school teacher, right? I like adults. So why was I doing this? Why was I trying to do things that didn't fill me just because I felt like it needed to be done? And you can take that in any way you want. I started finding ways to give back and to be part of my community in ways that were true and authentic to who I was. And so that, in a nutshell, is how I got my time back. I stopped Supermom from trying to make me do all of the things and went after it. And now I do that for small businesses. I help small businesses all over the country figure out how to buy back their time and make sense of their financial situation so that they can do more of what they're good at.
Where do you find that when someone approaches you with I have a problem, fill in the blank, what generally, I know it could be a full gamut of things, but what is the thing that kind of have your antenna standing straight up on end and saying, oh my God, that's the first thing that we're going to tackle? Is there something like that?
Yeah. I mean, when small business owners call us at 2 Cents, the first thing they say is, I don't know if I can afford help. I know I need help because my head's spinning and I feel like, my head's going to fall off any day because I'm not sleeping or I'm not eating well or I'm, turning away customers because I can't, but I don't know if I can afford it. And so those types of things are very immediate red flags to me that we need to sit down and start to learn financial statements. One of the things I tell all of my clients is I want you to either learn this well enough that you no longer need me, or we're going to help you make so much money you'd need more of me. And those are my 2 goals. I'm not going to just do the work for you. I'm going to teach you how to read your financial statements. I'll create them. No problem. You don't have to learn how to build the spreadsheet, but I'm going to learn how to teach you how to read it and how to make smart decisions based on that. I love to do the same thing for small business owners that I do for people. I'm not a coach. I'm not out there selling my time in that space, but that's what the podcast is all about. That's just me filling my cup in a way that I know I'm helping other people. I spend a lot of time in universities. I do a lot of guest lecturing. I do a lot in small business, in boards.
Okay.
Like I'm on the board at Planned Parenthood, Arizona, and places like that, so that I can really give back my knowledge of the corporate world and of the things that I've learned to get rid of.
I love it. And that is Nice Guy Community. We've just shared a bunch of things that are her gifts, Melissa's gifts, and the things that she does well, and her accolades, I'm sure, are presented on a regular basis to her. She probably has gotten all again, I'm not asking you to ring your own bell here, but what are some of those major accomplishments in your career that you think that you could, put your anchor to?
Yeah. Well, first one is publishing a book. I mean, my gosh, talk about amazing therapy. That was one of my best things. What's come of that has been remarkable as well. I've been named by the National Organization of Women Business Owners, Women with a Vision in Arizona last year. Before that, I was one of the top 40 women to know in the US and over the age of 40. So that was pretty exciting for me. I have a project management degree or professional certification, a PMP, and I find a ton of value in that certification that I've done a lot of work trying to inspire other young people to go through project management education. And I'm really proud of that time that I spend both at Arizona State and at Grand Canyon University to really help nudge the next generation forward.
And I want to turn this just a teeny little bit, not because I want to bring a downside to any podcast episode, but I want my community to understand this, because you've just listed, and I could have listed those as well, but you say them so much better and more eloquently than I could ever share those accolades. Those are the positive things, Nice Guy Community, that Melissa has been able to accomplish. But even at a level of accomplishment that Melissa has reached, there are still things that she is still, as a business owner, that she is working on. So if you're in our community and you think, well, yeah, I can see why she's successful. She's written a book. She's got, all this stuff that she's has in her past as positives. She's still working on shit too, just like I've been working on stuff for the last 30 plus years, whether it was my entertainment business or as a production company. So what's some of that stuff that you are still, the stuff that you bolt up at night and think, shit, I didn't do that, or I need to accomplish that, or the things that just kind of, put a bee in your bonnet? So what are those things?
My gosh, so many things. And you're so right. I mean, there's no end in sight to improving yourself. I am an avid reader. I love self-improvement books. I love the next thing that's going to take me to the next level. So 3 of the things that I'm constantly working are raising good human beings. I have 3 of them I'm responsible for. My biggest goal in life is that they turn out to be awesome humans. That's always my priority number 1, 2, and 3. But, for my business, just today, I made an offer to a woman to bring in as a 3rd CFO for my company. So right now, my company's pretty small. It's made up of 4 of us. We have 2 bookkeepers and myself and my partner as the fractional CFOs that we help other companies with. And we just hired a 3rd, and it keeps me up at night. I think, are we ready to grow? I know we can afford it financially because we can bring in the business. So I've done all the numbers, but it's still scary. It's still worrisome. What if she quits? What if I bring on all these clients and then she leaves? And then how am I going to service these people? So having that knowledge doesn't necessarily take away the fear of the what if. Trying to make decisions for my family for the future and decide different avenues to take. Last year, I retired my husband. He was able to leave his corporate job and come work for 2 cents. That was a tremendously scary thought for our family, right?
He probably loves coming off the greens, though. I'm sure he's probably tired of being out there in the field.
It's so funny. He spent 20 years in the golf industry, and he's golfed like 3 times since he retired. He retired. He's 44 years old, but retired from that career.
Yes.
Now he works for 2 cents, and he spends a lot of time in accounting, but he's become an avid hunter lately. It's like You gotta have a hobby, I suppose.
If he's hunting for prospects, that's the best thing. That's the direction you want to send him hunting in, just so you know.
He's a bow hunter, so all the things.
He's like a real man. Sorry.
He likes golf, he likes bow hunting. I don't know.
Nice.
We can talk about that later.
Hey, look, I like Cosmos and convertibles. It's like I'm a whole different kind of guy. That's totally fine though, and that's a whole different subject. Where would be a good starting point? Somebody in my community, they're listening to this episode and they're thinking, Doug, I appreciate all the message that you've shared, but we don't know how to get in touch with Melissa. So what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you to get more info?
Yeah, efficiencybitch.com is definitely the easiest to remember for most people. So you can go there, you can get in touch with me. If you're interested in our CFO services that we offer, 2 Cents Consulting is definitely an easy place to find me. It's TWOSENSE, so like making sense. And I'm sure we'll backlink all of those pieces as well. I'm on social media, although I'm not a huge social media person, but we are there. Right.
So what's the future look like? Now you have this fractional CFO business. You have your podcast. The podcast is another 4 of the things that your fractional CFO business doesn't necessarily. I'm sure you have a lot of good conversations with your clients about the other 4 things: the I, the T, the C, and the H. But what's the next step for you?
I'm writing another book. I'm in the middle of it. I'm writing Efficiency Bitch, but for teenagers / college students to help with some executive functioning and planning understanding as they move into their adult lives. I also have a draft of Efficiency Bitch for small business owners that I'm actively working on.
You are, I'm sensing a franchise here. The Efficiency Bitch.
It franchise is trademarked, Doug. So
I'm not going to steal it. I promise. It doesn't fit well for me. I'm the nice guy. That's the only way that it goes. Melissa, thank you.
I definitely went into it with the intention of growing it into a brand. So I
love it. I think it's great. So when any of those books come out, whether it's for teenagers or small businesses or whomever it's for, please come on back on the show. We'd love to have you back again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Nice guy community. Never underestimate the value of nice or understanding the value of a good bitch in the guest seat. Special thanks to Melissa Leone. All of her information, including access to her website and her business, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.